There is a moment in every person's life when they realize that raw effort is not enough. The world does not move for intentions, and success does not rise for the hopeful. It rises for the strategic. It bends for the prepared. It follows those who understand how people think, how power works, and how decisions shape destiny. This idea often sounds harsh, but it is also liberating. It means greatness is not luck. It is a craft, and few thinkers have ever explained that craft better than Niccolò Machiavelli. Machiavelli has long been misunderstood as a writer who encouraged cold ambition and ruthless tactics, but anyone who studies him seriously finds something different. He was not teaching cruelty. He was teaching clarity. He saw how leaders failed because they hesitated when they should act, trusted when they should analyze, or acted without preparing for the consequences. His lessons were warnings. They were meant to shield leaders from chaos, betrayal, indecision, and collapse. At his core, Machiavelli wanted stability and success for those brave enough to lead. The themes: plan like a mastermind, strike like a warrior, conquer like a king, capture the spirit of Machiavelli's philosophy. They outline a journey from strategic vision to decisive action and final dominance. These principles do not belong only to generals and rulers. They belong to anyone who wants to rise, build, create, win, or protect what matters. They belong to anyone who refuses to drift through life without direction. And in a world full of competition and uncertainty, Machiavelli's insights give us a map. They show how to think, how to move, and how to rule our challenges rather than be ruled by them. 1. Plan like a mastermind. Strategy begins with understanding reality. Machiavelli believed the first responsibility of any leader was to understand the world exactly as it is, not as they want it to be, not as others pretend it to be. A mastermind does not build plans on emotion or hope. They build on observation, on honest assessment, and on a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Machiavelli warned that leaders fail when they hide behind comforting illusions. Successful planning begins with removing every layer of denial and seeing the landscape of power with sharp eyes. This is the difference between fantasy and strategy. Preparation is a form of power. Once reality is understood, a mastermind prepares long before conflict appears. Machiavelli repeatedly emphasized the importance of readiness. He admired leaders who built defenses before danger came, and created opportunities before they were needed. In his view, preparation was not a chore but strength. It allowed a ruler to shape events instead of being shaped by them. Mastermind planning includes contingency routes, alliances, backup resources, and psychological insight into opponents. When preparation is strong, even sudden threats feel predictable. Control the narrative and the environment. A strategist does not only prepare in secret, they also study how to influence the environment around them. Machiavelli understood that power lives not only in weapons or wealth, but in perception. The leader who shapes how others see events gains an invisible advantage. Planning like a mastermind means controlling your image, setting expectations, and steering conversations. It means designing conditions so that when the decisive moment arrives, the field already leans in your favor. Brilliant plans do not simply react to the world, they redirect it. 2. Strike like a warrior. Decisiveness separates winners from losers. For Machiavelli, hesitation is the silent killer of leaders. He argued that once a plan is ready and the moment to act arrives, the leader must strike with force. Warriors do not second-guess themselves mid-swing. They move with conviction. Machiavelli believed that fortune follows the bold because boldness creates momentum. A leader who strikes decisively not only gains ground, but also shocks opponents into weakness. Doubt, on the other hand, invites disaster. To strike like a warrior means to accept responsibility for the moment and commit fully. Calculated aggression is more effective than chaos. Machiavelli did not worship violence or aggression for its own sake. He respected controlled strength. To him, a warrior who acts recklessly is doomed, but one who aims with precision becomes unstoppable. Calculated strikes weaken opponents, remove threats before they grow, and show followers that the leader is capable. Even difficult or unpleasant actions can be justified when they prevent greater damage. Machiavelli taught that a warrior's discipline is just as important as their courage. Adaptability in battle ensures survival. No matter how well a leader plans, the world resists perfection. Machiavelli stressed the importance of adapting quickly when conditions change. A warrior does not cling to a failing strategy. They shift, reposition, and outmaneuver. In Machiavelli's eyes, flexible strength is superior to rigid certainty. The ability to adjust in the middle of conflict is what keeps leaders alive. It also confuses enemies who expected predictability. A leader who can evolve mid-battle becomes a force others fear. 3. Conquer like a king. Winning is not the end, it is the beginning. Machiavelli believed conquering a challenge or enemy is only step one. The true test is maintaining control afterward. Many leaders win battles but lose the peace. A king must understand that victory creates responsibilities, stabilizing the environment, rewarding loyalty, integrating new territories, and preventing rebellion. Machiavelli wrote that poor management after victory destroys more rulers than the battles themselves. To conquer like a king means thinking beyond the moment of triumph and building a foundation that will last. Balance fear and love to maintain power. One of Machiavelli's most discussed ideas is the relationship between love and fear. He argued that a wise ruler uses both. Love creates unity. Fear creates order. A king who relies only on fear becomes hated, but one who relies only on love becomes vulnerable to manipulation. The balance makes a ruler predictable in the right way, just enough mercy to inspire loyalty, and just enough firmness to prevent betrayal. Maintaining this balance is an art, and Machiavelli considered it essential for anyone who intends to rule effectively. Build systems that outlive you. A true king does not rely on luck or personal charisma. They create systems, structures, and institutions that preserve their influence even in their absence. Machiavelli respected leaders who thought in decades, not days. Conquering like a king means leaving behind order, culture, alliances, and stable governance. When systems are strong, enemies struggle to uproot your legacy. Power becomes less about the individual and more about the world they built. This is the highest form of conquest. 4. The psychology of power. Understanding human nature as a strategic tool. Machiavelli built his philosophy on a clear understanding of human behavior. He believed most people act out of self-interest, respond to incentives, and are easily influenced by fear, hope, or desire. Leaders who ignore these tendencies fall into traps. Leaders who study them gain control. Machiavelli encouraged rulers to watch how people behave under pressure, around opportunity, and in times of uncertainty. The more a leader understands the motives behind actions, the easier it becomes to predict alliances, prevent betrayal, and offer rewards that actually motivate. Power depends on knowing what drives people at their core. Manipulation versus management of human emotion. Machiavelli was often accused of promoting manipulation, but the truth is sharper. He showed leaders how to manage human emotion, not exploit it cruelly. A ruler who knows when to encourage, when to warn, when to remain silent, and when to speak, gains influence without lifting a sword. Machiavelli understood that people make decisions based on how they feel, even when they pretend to be logical. Leaders who control emotional climates shape the choices others make. This makes psychological mastery one of the strongest tools in the pursuit of power. Predictability as a weapon. A surprising insight from Machiavelli is that predictability strengthens authority. When people understand your boundaries, your values, and your limits, they adjust their behavior accordingly. A leader who acts randomly inspires confusion, not respect. Machiavelli believed that predictable firmness leads to stability and loyalty, because people know where they stand. At the same time, he encouraged keeping intentions hidden until action is necessary. Public predictability and private discretion form a two-layered defense that protects a leader's power from both internal and external threats. 5. The role of fortune and timing. Fortune favors the prepared but tests everyone. Machiavelli often wrote about fortuna, the unpredictable force that shapes events. He compared fortune to a river that can flood without warning. The wise leader builds defenses while the weather is calm. Those who rely on luck alone drown when the flood arrives. Fortune does not disappear when one gains power. It changes direction, challenges assumptions, and exposes weaknesses. Leaders who understand this accept that uncertainty cannot be removed. It can only be prepared for. Success is not guaranteed, but readiness increases the odds dramatically. Timing creates the difference between bold and foolish. Machiavelli valued boldness but not blind courage. He saw timing as the difference between a calculated strike and a reckless one. Acting too early can ruin an opportunity. Acting too late can let it slip away forever. A great leader senses rhythm in events. When tension is rising, when enemies are vulnerable, when allies are available, and when hesitation might turn into regret. Timing also affects public perception. If a leader acts at the right moment, even harsh decisions appear justified. Timing is not an accessory to strategy. It is part of the strategy itself. Controlling what you can, accepting what you cannot. A core Machiavellian lesson is the importance of controlling internal strengths while accepting external unpredictability. Leaders often waste energy trying to manage what cannot be controlled. Machiavelli warned that this leads to frustration and failure. Instead, he advised building power in one's own discipline, alliances, preparation, and judgment. When fortune brings chaos, disciplined leaders survive because their foundation is strong. Those who depend on external circumstances collapse. Fortune may shape opportunity, but character shapes the outcome. 6. The art of loyalty and betrayal. Loyalty must be earned and protected. Machiavelli understood that loyalty is one of the pillars of strong leadership, but he rejected the naive belief that loyalty appears automatically. It must be earned through competence, fairness, rewards, and the promise of future stability. People follow leaders who seem capable of delivering results. They abandon leaders who look weak or indecisive. In Machiavelli's view, loyalty is not sentimental, it is practical. A wise ruler reinforces loyalty through consistent leadership and clear expectations. Betrayal is a constant threat for all leaders. Machiavelli wrote openly about betrayal because he saw it everywhere in politics. He believed that rulers who ignore the potential for treachery place themselves in danger. Betrayal often comes from those who feel ignored, undervalued, or threatened by the leader's success. Sometimes it comes from ambition, sometimes from fear. For Machiavelli, the key is not eliminating betrayal, because that is impossible. The key is predicting who might turn, why they might turn, and how to prevent the opportunity from arising. Awareness becomes a defense mechanism. Reward loyalty, punish treason, build stability. A ruler must show that loyalty brings benefits and betrayal brings consequences. Machiavelli argued that rewarding allies strengthens the leader's network and encourages future loyalty. At the same time, he insisted that traitors must be punished clearly enough that others think twice before attempting the same. This is not cruelty. It is maintenance of order. When people understand both the advantages of loyalty and the cost of disloyalty, a stable environment forms. That stability becomes the foundation for long-term power. 7. The power of image and reputation. Reputation shapes influence before action occurs. Machiavelli believed a leader's reputation carries strategic weight long before they take any action. People form expectations based on what they hear, observe, and imagine. A strong reputation can win support, deter enemies, and calm uncertainty. A weak or confused reputation invites challenges. Machiavelli urged leaders to craft an image that reflects strength, clarity, and competence. When a leader's reputation precedes them, their presence becomes a form of silent authority. Their name alone can shift the mood of a room or the direction of an entire conflict. Public perception must be managed with precision. A leader who ignores public perception hands their story to others. Machiavelli warned that rumors, assumptions, and misunderstandings can damage a ruler more than direct attacks. This makes image management a necessary discipline. It requires consistency, controlled messaging, and awareness of how every decision appears to the public. A leader should show confidence without arrogance, mercy without weakness, and discipline without cruelty. When handled well, perception becomes a shield that protects the ruler during difficult times. When handled poorly, it becomes a weapon used against them. Image without substance is fragile. Machiavelli understood that reputation must be matched by real ability. A leader who relies only on appearances eventually collapses. Image can open doors, but substance keeps them open. This means delivering results, showing competence, and proving reliability over time. The strongest leaders combine a powerful public image with real strategic skill. Their actions reinforce their reputation instead of contradicting it. When image and substance align, followers feel confident, enemies hesitate, and the leader stands firm even under heavy pressure. 8. Necessary cruelty versus foolish mercy. Mercy becomes dangerous when used at the wrong time. Machiavelli believed mercy was valuable but dangerous when misapplied. He observed that leaders sometimes choose mercy to appear virtuous, but end up creating greater suffering by allowing problems to grow. A leader who refuses to act decisively against threats often encourages those threats to multiply. Machiavelli argued that mercy without wisdom is not kindness. It is negligence. When challenges require firm action, hesitation can create chaos that affects everyone under the ruler's protection. Controlled severity prevents larger harm. To Machiavelli, cruelty was not something to celebrate. It was something to control and deploy only when absolutely necessary. He believed that one swift, decisive, and carefully justified action could prevent long-term instability. A leader who removes a dangerous threat early protects the greater population from future turmoil. This form of severity is not rooted in malice. It is rooted in responsibility. Machiavelli insisted that a single harsh action executed for the sake of stability is morally preferable to years of suffering caused by weak leadership. Justice is the balance between mercy and strength. Machiavelli's real goal was justice, not brutality. He wanted leaders to understand when mercy inspires loyalty and when firmness maintains order. Justice is achieved when both are used correctly. Mercy strengthens bonds when followers act with goodwill. Firmness corrects behavior when threats arise. Machiavelli encouraged rulers to weigh each situation with clarity, not emotion. A leader who understands this balance creates an environment where people feel safe, respected, and aware of clear boundaries. This is the foundation of a stable and prosperous state. 9. Building alliances and navigating enemies. Alliances are strategic investments, not friendships. Machiavelli taught that alliances must be built with strategic purpose, not emotional loyalty. Leaders should choose partners based on shared goals, mutual benefit, and long-term stability. He believed alliances should be evaluated like investments. Do they strengthen your position, protect your interests, or open new opportunities? Leaders who form alliances based on personal attachment risk, aligning with unreliable or unhelpful partners. Machiavelli encouraged clear agreements, realistic expectations, and constant monitoring to ensure both sides remain committed. A wise leader knows which enemies to challenge and which to ignore. Not every enemy is worth fighting. Machiavelli emphasized that smart leaders distinguish between threats that matter and threats that are distractions. Engaging in unnecessary conflicts wastes resources and weakens the state. Sometimes ignoring an enemy is more effective than confronting them. Other times, eliminating a threat early prevents a larger conflict later. Machiavelli urged rulers to judge carefully. Strength should be used only where the long-term benefit justifies the cost. Strategic patience can be a weapon just as powerful as force. Alliances shift, but interests remain constant. Machiavelli understood that alliances are temporary because interests evolve. A partner today may become a rival tomorrow. This is not betrayal. It is the nature of power. Wise leaders remain flexible, adjusting their alliances as circumstances change. They maintain communication channels, avoid unnecessary hostility, and preserve their ability to negotiate. The leader who clings to a rigid network of allies becomes vulnerable when the political landscape shifts. The leader who adapts survives every change. Machiavelli believes survival often depends on knowing when to hold an ally close and when to let them go. 10. Leading with virtue and strategic character. Virtue is the engine of effective leadership. Machiavelli used the term virtue to describe the qualities that make a leader powerful, resilient, and effective. It did not mean virtue in the moral sense. It meant skill, courage, discipline, adaptability, intelligence, and the ability to shape events through decisive action. A leader with virtue does not wait for the world to hand them opportunities. They create opportunities. Machiavelli believed that virtue separates leaders who rise from those who crumble under pressure. It is the internal strength that drives external success. Character anchors power during turbulent times. Machiavelli recognized that leaders face storms, sudden crises, and unpredictable enemies. A strong character gives them a steady center. This character does not mean softness or sentimental virtue, but clarity, self-control, and the ability to remain stable under stress. Leaders who panic lose loyalty. Leaders who stay grounded inspire trust. Machiavelli saw character as a strategic asset because stability at the top creates stability throughout the entire system. When people believe their leader can handle any challenge, they behave with confidence rather than fear. Personal discipline reflects public authority. For Machiavelli, discipline begins within the leader. A ruler who cannot govern himself will fail to govern his people. Discipline shows in decision-making, emotional control, daily habits, and consistent priorities. It prevents impulsive choices and protects the leader from manipulative influences. Machiavelli understood that personal chaos always spills into public leadership. He stressed that rulers with disciplined character create environments that others can trust. This trust strengthens the foundation of power more than any speech or promise ever could. Mastering change in an unstable world. Change is constant, and success belongs to the adaptable. Machiavelli knew the world shifts constantly. Economies rise and fall. Alliances break, leaders come and go. He believed survival depends on the ability to adapt quickly to new realities. A ruler who clings to old strategies eventually becomes vulnerable. Adaptation does not mean abandoning principles. It means adjusting methods to the demands of the moment. Machiavelli praised leaders who spotted changes early and moved before others realized what was happening. Those who adapt first often win without resistance. Innovation strengthens power and prevents stagnation. While Machiavelli often wrote about military and political strategy, he also understood innovation. Leaders who repeat the same approach eventually lose effectiveness. Innovation keeps opponents off balance and inspires followers. It signals growth, confidence, and intelligence. Whether a ruler reforms laws, reorganizes institutions, or adopts new technologies, innovation shows that power is active rather than decaying. Machiavelli believed that leaders must constantly update both their thinking and their methods to remain relevant in a changing world. Ignoring change leads to predictable failure. Leaders who resist change lock themselves into patterns that enemies can exploit. Machiavelli warned that rigidity is one of the fastest paths to downfall. When the world evolves and the leader does not, the imbalance becomes fatal. He used historical examples to show how rulers who ignored new conditions were overthrown by those who embraced them. For Machiavelli, adaptation is not a personality trait, it is a survival strategy. Those who fail to adjust lose not because they lack strength, but because they use the wrong strength at the wrong time. 12. The legacy of a Machiavellian leader. A legacy built on order and achievement. Machiavelli believed a leader's legacy is measured by the stability they leave behind. A great leader creates order where there was chaos, opportunity where there was fear, and unity where there was division. Their achievements do not vanish when they step down. They continue shaping events long after the leader is gone. Machiavelli admired rulers whose actions created lasting strength, because a short-lived success is no success at all. A legacy rooted in strong foundations becomes an extension of the leader's will. Influence extends beyond a leader's lifetime. A Machiavellian leader understands that power is not limited to their own era. Their decisions can influence future generations. Their reforms can shape entire societies. Their ideas can inspire future rulers. Machiavelli himself became proof of this. Though he never ruled a nation, his insights shaped centuries of political thought. A leader who leaves behind a system, a culture, and a clear example of strategic excellence builds a legacy that transcends time. Influence becomes eternal when it is built on wisdom rather than ego. The ultimate goal is stability, not domination. Despite his reputation, Machiavelli valued stability above everything else. He believed power exists to preserve the state, protect the people, and maintain order. Conquest is only valuable if it leads to long-term stability. A leader who builds a legacy based on control alone will lose it quickly. A leader who builds it on systems and strategic clarity ensures that their work lasts. Machiavelli's ultimate lesson is that leadership is not about personal glory. It is about creating a world that endures. Conclusion. Every era changes, but the logic of power stays the same. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He saw that greatness does not come from luck, talent, or dreams. It comes from strategy. It comes from courage. It comes from leaders who think ahead, act boldly, and build systems strong enough to outlive them. Plan like a mastermind, strike like a warrior, conquer like a king is more than a slogan. It is a roadmap for anyone who refuses to move through life without purpose. When we plan like masterminds, we learn to see the world clearly and prepare for every turn. When we strike like warriors, we commit to decisive action instead of hiding behind fear. When we conquer like kings, we build stability, loyalty, and long-term influence. These steps are not just for rulers and generals. They apply to business, personal growth, relationships, and every challenge that demands strength and clarity. Machiavelli teaches us that power is not evil. It is responsibility. It is the courage to lead when others hesitate. It is the discipline to stay prepared when others relax. It is the wisdom to act when the moment calls. The world will always belong to those who think with clarity, move with confidence, and build with purpose. If we follow Machiavelli's lessons with intelligence and integrity, we can shape our own destiny rather than wait for someone else to shape it for us.